Good evening. It's 8 minutes after 7. You're listening to Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Kobe Spiky and Chroma. You know when you hear that soundtrack, the geeks are in town. So, last week you missed us because, Champions League, and when the footballers are around, we go on a break. But we're back. And we're the show that breaks down technology and brings it closer to home. And with that being said, we look at what's happening in society. We look at the questions you guys are asking, and if it's tech related and we think we can provide the answers, we do. So before we continue with the show, let me just give a shout out to my producer Dela Glanu and Abeku Sankofi, Dennis Fairboy, and Selwyn for putting us live on Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook, it's a courtesy of my wonderful team. So tonight on the show, we will be looking at the challenges with the current computerized school placement system. And it's, if you're a prospective senior high school student and you wrote your BEC a few months ago, you could check your placement details on the website. But there's been concerns. Some parents have even pitched tents at the Independence Square because their children weren't placed, and some have been placed in schools where they were supposed to be boarders, but they were made day students and asked to rent apartments, as I've heard in certain cases. So today we're going to talk to, IT people and you, the listeners. I want to hear from you too, what you think. We will be discussing if there are alternatives, if this could have been averted, if this was a mistake, or if this was something that really we couldn't have prevented. And to do this, I have with me Mr. Kwesi Adabo-Boakye. He's a lead IT tech at Project Ghana Network Solutions. Good evening and welcome, sir.
Good evening.
And then I have Miss Yakoba Otu. She's a home econs teacher at Kotobabi TMA JHS Spintex. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, thank you.
And we have Alfie Rains. Alfie's been a while, man. Since you got married, we haven't seen you.
Child, I've been around.
How's marriage?
Cool,
Yeah, you went to Dubai and stuff. Did you hack anybody? Never mind. So, let's talk about the computerized school placement system. Now, Mr. Kwesi Adabo, I want to start with you. I want you to educate us on how a system like that is supposed to work. Notwithstanding, we will speak to someone who was part of the team that developed the first model of this system. But I want to hear from you. How is such a system developed?
Well, thank you. Good evening, listeners. I'll give a brief background to CSSPS. We all remember in 2005, or prior to that, headmasters would gather from all parts of Ghana in a conference room or somewhere. Mm-hmm. And then they will come and then manually do selection of students, that is students who qualify to their institutions based on certain criteria. We all know this process is going to be very laborious, right?
Yeah.
Good. So the computer selection and school placement was introduced.
Right.
Just to limit the stress headmasters, parents, and students go through in order to get school. And so it began from that year. And then, whilst that, the system has gone through series of changes, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then recently, that is, I will say, last week, we saw the chaos that happened, and then parents troop into the Black Star Square. Now, how is this system supposed to work?
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be very simple. If I am an JHS leaver,
yeah.
I write exam, the scores come in. I have chosen some schools before writing the exam.
Right.
So when my results are in, based on my score, and I stress here the raw score, if I meet the criteria of the schools I choose, at least one of them, I am placed there.
Okay.
That is if there is vacancy and people do not have marks more than me. Okay. If by happening or by anything, I do not get the scores or the criteria by the school, I am moved to my second choice. If I do not get, I am moved to my third choice, and so on and so forth. Okay. But however, this year there was an introduction of what is called the self-placement system,
Okay.
where if I don't get any of my chosen schools, that is five of my chosen schools, I am supposed to self-place myself, okay, based on a list of schools given to me, and those schools are supposed to have vacancies.
Okay.
Okay, so basically this is how the CSSPS is supposed to work.
Okay.
That is the ideal situation I have just narrated.
Right.
Okay.
And now we have certain problems that have arisen from reasons not yet known to us.
Yeah.
What, by your estimation, could have been the cause or something? If you could, first of all, what are some of the problems that we're facing? Is it that students are not being placed in the schools that they chose, or what's happening?
Well, there can be several issues, but if I remember, mostly the concerns were I chose a school I did not get. I'm supposed to self-place myself. I self-place. So when I go to the school I self-place, I'm supposed to find my name there. But I go and the school tells me, no, we do not have your name on our list, which means I'm supposed to hang. There's nothing to do now because the self-placement is supposed to be the final point.
Yeah.
That is one. Two, the schools that were supposed to declare vacancies, if they were exhausted or they had used their vacancies up, they were not supposed to be seen in the self-placement list. For some reason, some of those schools were seen in there. So these are the two I can give, and they were the prominent issues.
Okay. So in the case where schools that didn't have vacancies were being shown, what could have happened?
Well, I could attribute it to system malfunction. Okay, let's say the algorithm to control how the system was supposed to run did not run well, or like the minister said, it was hacked, which we may have issues or we may have to interrogate further, but that is the reason he gave. Yes.
Okay, so the first reason was that the system didn't work well, or it was hacked.
Yeah.
Now on this hacking segue, I'm going to come straight to you, Alfie. So why would anyone have reason to hack a computer placement system? Is it to put themselves in there as, because maybe let's say I wanted to go to Butchie and Fancy Pim School and I didn't get in Fancy Pim School. Can I actually choose? Will I get a hacker to hack and then put me in there?
Well, you can't rule that option out.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, we've all heard stories of students trying to find devious ways to change their grades and stuff. So I'm sure we can't rule that option out. If the system was hacked, probably certain parents or certain students who have certain resources to connect themselves to certain people to, make sure they are placed, they didn't go as planned. But then, looking at it from my point of view, I don't know what a hacker's motive will be to hack the school placement system if it's not a sabotage or just a distraction of service. We just want to prevent people from accessing the resources. Finish.
Right.
That's mindset.
Okay. So before you continue, we have Professor Clement Soa. He's an IT consultant and president of Christ Apostolic University College. Prof is an IT consultant who's worked in both the USA and Ghana on several IT projects, and he was involved from the conceptual design to detailed design, development, and implementation of the first version of the system. So I want to speak to Prof to find out how their system worked, because there was a first version, and if that one worked, we need to know why second version
Versions
isn't
came out.
working. So, hi, Prof.
Yes.
Good evening, Prof.
Good evening.
And welcome to the show.
Thank you. Can you hear me very well?
I can hear you absolutely clearly.
Okay, good.
Great.
You
So,
want me to talk about, you tell me exactly what you want me to tell you.
great. So, I want to know about your version of the system that you conceptualized and how it worked perfectly. Or should I say it worked without as many hitches as the one that we're currently experiencing?
Yeah, basically, when we started, for over a period of 1 year, we had meetings with the different stakeholders,
Right.
the staff, the headmasters, headmistresses of secondary schools, heads of GHS, civil society groups, and PTA, and on, and also the religious bodies, since the religious Catholic and Presby and Methodist had a lot of the schools. So we made contact with all these. We studied the existing manual system and the challenges it had. And then once we gathered all the data, we also realized that we cannot place them by the aggregate, because you can have a situation where two people have aggregate 8, but if you are putting them in, say, St. Peter's, and you are taking from aggregate 6 to 8, and you are stopping at the 8, which of the 8 do you take if they are more than what you need?
Right.
So we decided to use raw scores, because if you use raw scores, you realize that somebody may get 95 and it is an A, another 80, it is an A. So you prefer to take the 95 first.
Great.
So that's what we did. So we were the first to come up with the idea of using raw scores. And not only that, we got the data from for 2 years from WAEC, and we used it to test the first design thoroughly to make sure that it's working. And we had a technical working committee which represented all the stakeholders, and we reviewed what has been done thoroughly to make sure that it's working right before we implemented it.
Great.
One of the key features of our system is what I call the displacement algorithm.
Okay.
It is quite complex, but it helps to make the system run well. What happens is that if somebody chooses, say, Presec, and his second choice is, say, Accra Academy, if he does not get Presec, he should be placed in Accra Academy. But what happens is that when you do the placement and you take people's first choice, by the time you are finished replacing Presec and he doesn't get, and you look at Accra Academy, the first choice Accra Academy will have been taken. But this person who chose Accra Academy as second choice, his marks may be better than the last person on the list of Accra Academy.
Okay.
A good displacement algorithm will make sure that they put this person, we say, supposing Accra Academy lowest mark is, say, 400. This person got 450. But because Presec lowest was 500, couldn't get Presec. So he comes to compete with those in Accra Academy. And because it's 450, he should be put, though it is second choice, he should be put there, and the person with the lower marks, say 350, should be removed, or 300, should be removed from Accra Academy. And he goes to compete with his second or his third choice. Now, if you design the system very well, it works beautifully, because it keeps on moving people around until if you don't get your second, you go to your third, and so on. Now, when that algorithm doesn't work right, you have a problem. And I strongly believe that the problem is basically the software. It takes a lot of time and experience to develop a good software.
Right.
And my question is, how thoroughly was this new software tested?
Great.
Maybe as a challenge, we should let lecturers from computer science, KNUST, and University of Ghana go and audit the software. Let's be honest about things. Let's be open. If the software is good and it's working right, why is it giving so many problems? We are good. We are in a country like Ghana where people don't resort to going to the law courts like the US. Otherwise, we have so many law cases, court cases on our hands. Because I was talking to a parent who said, my child got 400. And the school, I've gone to the school, the third choice, and there are people with 320. My child didn't get in with the 400. In a place like US, people take this matter to court, and it becomes a problem.
Right.
But what I'm saying is they shouldn't go that way. We should make sure that there's fairness, there's transparency, there is openness, and this is not NDC versus MPP. We should do the right thing. And I believe that with the experienced people we have had over the years, why is it that after testing it more and more, it's getting worse? It shouldn't happen. If you use the system, and there should always be improvement. If you look at the cars that come into this country, all the new ones have added features, new improvement. That's the way things should be. But after we won the first one and we developed it, change of government, they said they don't want it. Even though the government of Ghana has paid for it, they threw it away. When there was a change of government in 2009. And the thing is that when something has been thoroughly tested and you throw it away, the one we won as a result, the one we developed, as a result of open, competitive national bidding with about 9 companies, and we won, technically and financially, the lowest price. These other ones, it was not open. It was not advertised nationally. Why? Why do we give such an important software under the table? Why not open? What are we trying to hide?
Prof, with your system,
yes.
With your system, did you have any challenges?
Oh, we had the challenge. There are usually every software, when you begin, you have challenges. But some of those challenges, you may trace it to the fact that at the beginning, when you shade, for example, to select male or female school, you have to shade. Now, if you don't take care and you shade it wrongly, you will, during our time, they were shading, and then the machine will read the form they fill for white. So if you shade it wrongly, and the male, you choose a girl's school, the computer doesn't know that you are a male and you're choosing a girl's school. It will put you there.
Okay.
So later on, what we did was we had to review and then go through the forms that they are filled and the information. We have to make sure that we don't have that sort of problem.
Right.
Okay. But there were few challenges, like maybe they put somebody in a blind school and the person is not blind. But these are a few things that after the first round, we cleaned it up and we weren't getting the challenge.
Okay, so it didn't happen again.
We didn't have this. The challenges were going down each time we ran it, and it was getting minor and minor. That's why I said that if you have done something that is good, take it and improve upon it. Or even if you want to do something new, let the old people share the experience with the new people who are going to take over and develop a new one.
Right.
You should make use of experience. Experience you cannot get in the classroom or buy it. So if you have acquired certain knowledge and you throw it away, it is going to affect all of us. And this is our country. We should make use of all the resources at our disposal.
Great. Thank you very much, Professor Clement. That was very enlightening. We will continue the conversation, and I'm sure our panelists in studio will continue to answer the rest of the questions that I have for them. Thank you very much, Professor Clement.
Okay.
Right. So, Prof spoke, and I think a lot of what he said makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
I was on you when we were talking about the hacking.
Yeah.
In the case where the minister says that the system was hacked, you were telling us why someone would have reason to hack.
Yeah, so as I was saying, because I think when they were interviewing one of the coordinators from GES, they were trying to show them some of the slips which proved that the system was hacked because they didn't have a tracking and a date. So as I'm saying, if the only reason I think from the ethical point of view of cybersecurity, it's either the person was disrupting the service or the person was trying to make sure because this is a huge data and then I can hide one student in who they've paid me, make sure even though their raw scores, whether it's good or bad, make sure they are placed at their fair school. And by the time they go there, this because it's computerized, right? But my main concern was most of the issues people were having was the downtime, the server overload.
When you say downtime, it was
so
shutting down.
Yeah, people couldn't
down.
access because when you enter your serial and the voucher and stuff, it gives you it takes you to the Cloudflare interface 502 gateway, because it's behind the Cloudflare server
balancing
firewall and it couldn't balance. But I think that problem could have easily been avoided if the Apache workers were increased or well configured.
When you say Apache workers.
So if I say Apache workers, I noticed their server is running on Apache.
Okay.
Apache, it's running on Ubuntu, but it has the Apache web server.
Mhm.
That's what makes the resource available to the internet.
Okay.
You can configure it so well so it could accept a lot of concurrent connections. So if the issue of downtime is because everybody was trying to get in and load and get their data, and so some will be able to view their placement, others won't. If the Apache workers is a model, it's called an NPM. If it's well configured, we shouldn't have that problem. We should be able to serve, in fact, countless people, right? Then to conclude, if it was really a hack tool, I mean, it's a server. They could easily know where the flooding was coming from. If it's China, block the whole geo, because it's a Ghana thing.
It's a Ghana thing, yeah.
Make only IPs in Ghana access the portal. So if hackers, if anybody trying to hack the system was going to be behind a VPN, the VPN will not be a Ghanaian IP address.
Definitely.
So you will just isolate the problem, make sure it's accessible to Ghana only, and then I think we would have avoided some of these downtimes and alleged hacking, attempts and all.
Okay, so last one before I get to Ms. Yakoba. Prof was talking about the displacement. Now that made a whole lot of sense to me, where, because we had a prior conversation to this and I got to understand how the system works.
Yeah.
Do you think that this system was programmed to work like that?
Well, I believe so. But like I was saying, there was, or there may have been a malfunction somewhere. Yes. Prof made some serious comments.
Yeah.
The question I wrote whilst he was speaking was, how long was the system tested before this placement issue?
The new system.
Yes, the new system. That's what I mean. And that seemed to be an issue. Okay, because from what Prof was saying, they had time, they had data, and so they acquired some experience with time.
Yeah.
Okay, so their system obviously would work better. Okay, but with this new system, the question I would like to ask is, how long was it tested? And if possible, who were the experienced hands involved?
Those are the questions that you have to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I get to you, Madam Yakuba, someone says, good evening to you and your panelists. Listening to the professor, he has shared views. One other problem is some parents leave the choosing of the schools to their wards, not taking into account their abilities. Truth be told, CSSPS is serious business for people, selling to the highest bidder. Kweku from North Kanish. So, Madam Yakuba, you're a teacher, and you have probably had parents come to you also complain about, so I want to get, after this whole hula baloo, asking your advice. What do you think happened on the side from your point of view?
Thank you very much. From my side, I would say that most parents were not helpful enough with this school selection thing.
Okay.
In education, we have something we call guidance and counseling, and in the second term, in the final year, we have a program called school selection program.
Okay.
And parents are invited with their children, and they are briefed on the secondary school system, both the SHS, the vocational and technical system, the programs that are offered in all areas, both the technical and the SHS levels. And they are told that there's something we call the 30% catchment area and the 70% catchment area. The 30% catchment area, it's basically schools within the locality of the basic school. That is, let's take it for instance, my school in the Spintex, on the Spintex Road. We are close to Ashama Secondary, Tama School, Chemu Secondary. Achimota is close but not too close. So a child can choose schools from these areas depending on his or her academic strength. We also have the 70% catchment area that the child will move outside the schools within his or her locality. We brief parents on all these. We invite parents again when the school selection forms come out to come sit down and reason with teachers. Some parents will come. Others would say they are busy. Or list down the schools, give it to their wards that we teachers should fill the form for them, of which we are not supposed to do, so we don't do it. Some parents also dream, and in their dreams, they place their children in those dreams, not knowing whether the children would really fit in the dream or not. They don't consider the strength, the talent, and the desires of a child. Everybody wants my child to be a doctor, so they all want to read sciences. Whether the child can read the science or not, the parent doesn't understand why my child can't be a doctor. So all their selections are science, not considering the child's performance. When we try our best as teachers to educate them on it or to enlighten them on it, some get upset. The few that listen, I don't think are going through these challenges. Those who take their own decision, not considering what we've said as teachers, they have some of these challenges. I want to talk about the self-placement system. At my level, my students that are going through this challenge is basically because of the choice of schools that they made. Professor said something. He said every school has the raw score, an amount or a certain percentage that they accept. Now, if I should choose Achimota for my first choice and choose Agri Memorial Zion as my second choice, Achimota and Agri Memorial, they are all category A schools. Choose Laboni as my second choice. Laboni is a category B school. Then I should get aggregate 14, 15 or 16 and say I want to read science. First of all, I'll miss Achimota because Achimota, their cutoff point for sciences may be somewhere around 10 or 12, meaning I'll make it in Achimota. By the time my name will go in for the Agri Memorial Zion School, by then the science class will be full because others chose it as their first choice school. And I have chosen it as my second choice. Then we move to Laboni, and the same problem. The class is full, the science class is full. With such a situation, you'll be asked to self-place yourself. And parents will come back and say, we don't understand why this is going on. When teachers were educated to brief parents, and I believe my colleagues and I, we did our work well. Our major problem in this country when it comes to education is with parents.
So if you're listening to us and you want to join in the conversation, you can send us a WhatsApp or a Telegram or 0244340437, 0244340437. And if you want to call in, it's 0302-216-541. I repeat, 0302-216-541 to call, and 0244340437 to WhatsApp and Telegram. Send us a message. If you're a parent, if you are a developer and you think you have a better solution, if you are a part of those who actually, for the sake of argument, hacked the system, you can call and under anonymity confess your sins. So, Mr. Kwesi, are there any other alternatives to a system like this?
Since this system was tailor-made for such a process, there may be others, but it is better you stick to what you've started.
Okay.
Because systems get better with time. And once you've started this, you've encountered some of these issues. Definitely, you are going to work at them. And so next year, when school placement is done, I don't believe we are going to encounter the issues where we encountered recently. Okay.
No, I know about it.
Yes. So I may not say we have other replacement systems or substitute systems, but it is better we keep working at what we have.
So working at what we have means that in future we probably will not experience this.
Yes.
Again.
We may experience it, but at a minimum.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at a lower
because
scale.
There's no way we can get away all the bugs. If you ask Prof, what they started with, they had some level of issues, and then with time it got better, but they couldn't eliminate everything. Okay, so that is what is going to happen.
Ms. Yakoba, you actually, from your statement, you believe that parents are also to blame before the computer system.
Yes, please.
Okay, so in the case where parents follow all the instructions, they rely on everything that's you advise them on, do you think that there'll be no problem, or you think that the problems will be minimum?
I think the problem will be minimum.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I'm saying this is that as teachers, we've been given the list of schools in the various categories.
Right.
And we've been advised to look at the strength of the child, of the student, and choose the schools as such for them. So when you come as a parent and you say, okay, maybe I'm an old boy or an old girl of this school, or I love this school, so I would want my ward to attend this school, then I would want my ward to pursue this program. We look at the performance, the strength of the child, and we advise you on it. If we really think the schools that you even want are below your child's performance, we advise for better choices. And if it's way higher than your child's performance, we also advise on what to do. Okay, so as a parent, if you really listen, we would, it is my plea, my colleagues and I, that parents should listen to teachers. It's not like we know everything, no, but we know your children better than yourself. We spend more time with them. Okay. Another problem is a child has skills. Parents do not believe in skills. Ghanaian parents do not believe in skills. But it's because we don't believe in skills, that's why our industry is not progressing. Okay. The vocational and technical schools are not for children who are, pardon me to say, stupid. It is believed that you are born in a home economics. But I read home economics both in SHS, in SS, I did SS, and at the university. Now, mom, money. I really think parents should accept the vocational and technical schools. Most children have the skills. They can do marvelous things that we as parents, we don't know unless we sit and study our kids.
Okay, so one thing that I also want to know is, which is the priority, the school or the choice of course? If I'm choosing, which one should be more in order of priority? Is it the school that I'm choosing or the choice of the course that I'm choosing?
The choice of the course first.
Okay.
When you know what you want to do, then we know which schools are better in these areas than other schools. Some schools have well-endowed science laboratory, ICT laboratories. So with that, if you want to read science with a bit of ICT, we would advise you choose this school. If you want to read pure science, we'll advise you read this school. If you want to read agric science, we'd advise you should read this school, and many more. So the choice is priority.
Okay. So I've got a question here. Good evening, sir. I want to ask the professor this logic question. There is a criteria supposed to be met in order to enter into a school of your choice. It's based on this criteria that the program language is written. Take into consideration percentage allowed for students from less privileged schools. Now, aside the program to be written for the placement and self-placement, is it not reasonable and also the best of solutions to have a CSSPS center in every district education office to see to this data handling? If such is in place, will it be necessary for all Ghana to meet at the Black Star Square for such eyesore scenarios? And if it is an issue of salary, can't it be of simple logic to employ the use of national service personnel with computer knowledge? That way, if my ward gets aggregate 7 but does not get into Bishop Herman College, you can just go to the education district office your ward attended school in, and then check with the system there, get sorted out, and then move on. That's someone's suggestion. I think it makes sense.
Pretty much.
So we've got some more messages coming in. If you want to join in the conversation and you want to call, the number to call is 0302 216 541 and 0244340437. If you want to send a WhatsApp or Telegram, it's also 0244340437. Good evening, Joy FM. Why after 14 years we can't improve on the selection system, but rather going back? That's from Yao and Achimota Yao. I'm also asking myself the same question. Someone says, I think the CSSPS has not done well at all. Last year there were similar challenges and I thought they will correct the mistakes, but no, the problems this year are even worse. Students who self-placed went to their schools and were told their details were not in the school's portal. Apparently, the self-placement system reversed most of the self-placed because it experienced a technical challenge. Yet, students and their parents were not notified. parents who were coming for admission were furious with school authorities because on the printed placement form they were placed in the school, but the school says your information is not in our portal. This is what a lot of parents are going through now. That's from Ruben. We've got a lot of messages. So the displacement algorithm should be made to work. Students should be placed based on performance and not because they chose a particular school. Choosing a school requires no skill, and the students should not be unduly punished for the choices they make, as the teacher is suggesting. They're saying that students should not be punished. So I choose day schools, and the computer gave me my ward boarding in the Volta region. For me, I think computerized placement this time is not good. So John in Medina said, why is it that a student obtained aggregate 10 with a raw score of 465 could not get admission to a first choice school to do general arts in an SHS in the Eastern region, but many people with aggregate 11 to 18 and with raw score ranging between 464 and 403 were able to obtain admission to do general arts in this school? The particular student got better aggregate and better raw score? Question. So there's another question here. Please, I want to ask our lady who's saying the problem is with the parents a question. My ward had 08, chose Achimota as a border, and she's been given day. How can she come and go all the way from Dodowa and Bina? So,
Okay.
before you answer, I've got a call on the line. Hello, Jerry.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Doing great.
Good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening to your panelists. First, I would like to touch on the professor you talked to.
Right.
You see what politics is doing to our system. A very good professor had come out with a very nice algorithm for this state.
Yeah.
And look at what we are doing to it, playing politics with us. And yet, the Minister of Education can mark himself 85. That's a pity. On the second part of it, I've also been a teacher, and I'll say yes, majority of the problem is also in line with parents. Their choice of school for their ward, and also not knowing what their wards are capable of doing. At times, you try to advise the kids to pick a school that will help them due to their own performance, but the parents will reject that. But once again, if we are still to go back to what the professor and his team had, I think it's a perfect thing and wouldn't be going through all these challenges we are facing.
Great.
I have a personal problem. I want to create a PayPal account, and I'm not able to do that. So I need a help. I know you and your team can help me do that.
Just join the Telegram group and we'll help you on that side.
I don't have the Telegram group.
You don't have okay, we'll put it in the live stream, so just catch it on the live stream. All right, it's there right now. You can check it.
Okay.
Right, thank you very much for calling. We have Kweku on the line. Hello, Kweku.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Kweku.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'll comment on two issues.
Yes, sir.
In fact,
if you could turn down your radio. Okay, so we lost Kweku over there. First off, let's okay, Kweku's back. Hello?
Hello. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
back.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. I'll comment on two issues.
Yes, sir.
The first one is from the way the professor spoke. You could see that our challenge, number one, is from the politicians. You know, when there was a change, according to him,
Yes.
when they came and then there was a change in government in 2008, then they abandoned that was the time when then NDC came and they brought a new one.
Right.
Then 2016, when they were out of power, NPP also came to change the system. So that's the thing. So number one, we blame the politicians, number one. Number two, you know, the teacher in the studio tried to contradict what the professor had said about the displacement. You know, the thing is said that when they have categorized the schools. So you could choose to presec,
right,
first choice, and you could miss presec. But if you choose Agri Memorial second choice, which is the category B schools, the fact you could come and then compete with them. That was the initial thing, the way they did it. So the fact that by the time she made a comment that by the time that I've come to Agri Memorial, the place must have been full. No, that's not how the algorithm works.
Okay.
What you do that you could miss precept and then come and even talk in Adwemora, even though that couldn't have been your first choice schools.
Right.
But I have cases this year. People had over 500 and something marks out of 600, and then they had they missed their first choice. They couldn't get second, they couldn't miss third, and they were placed in fourth choice schools. How can you explain that? When they had over 500 marks, and you go to that same first choice schools that they missed, people with lower marks were there. So the problem is with the people might have had the system and this so-called protocol. People also took advantage of it, and it created problems for parents. So that's what I'm saying about the whole system. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kweku. So that was Kweku saying that he doesn't believe that. You have another call on the line. Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm on.
Yes,
Good
please.
evening.
Good evening.
Please, my problem, I'm a parent,
Yes, please.
but I've been listening to your program, and I think the problem lies with WAEC.
Okay.
Why am I saying so? Are they not the examiners? Are they not in charge of marking? Are they not in charge of placement? Are they not in charge of evaluation after every program? So why should you be experiencing all these mistakes? It means WAEC is not really ready for that program. They must sit down and correct their mistakes and stop putting the blame on machines.
WAEC or GES? Because I think WAEC is for the whole West
Is
Africa.
it not WAEC which is in charge of examination?
Yes, they are.
Good. Is it not WAEC which is in charge of marking?
Yes, they are.
Is it not WAEC which is in charge of the placement?
No.
So after marking, they just leave the papers to fly by themselves.
No, so they send the marks to the GES and the GES.
The machines with the information.
I don't think that's
So
WAEC's
if
responsibility.
you have been experiencing these problems, what have they done?
Okay.
There must always be a postmortem. Sit down, look out for your shortcomings, correct your mistakes. This is what I want to tell them.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling, madam.
Thank you.
Welcome. So, we've got another caller on the line. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Ruben.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling.
Okay. I wanted to contribute, and one of the previous callers has taken the wind out of my sail. Much of the problem has been with the politicians because
Right.
if the fair system that started with this scheme had been maintained, the system would have been perfected, and all the issues with it would have been corrected, and by now would have happened.
Hello? Oh, sorry, we lost Ruben there. So, a lot of people are saying that they're blaming the politicians. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And unfortunately, they did. So, now, the problem has already come. The problem has come.
Yeah.
So, how do we fix it? That's what we are trying to find out. Now, someone was also saying that with the problem where everyone was gathering, like where we had people gathering at the Independence Square, they should have districts, people in their districts who handle these things. How's that for a solution?
Well, I believe there was a solution, some solution centers across the country, but when the people rushed there, they could not get the solutions.
So then they decided
mostly they had to rush.
We've
to
got
Accra.
another call on the line. Hello, Michael.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I have a bit of a contribution, and I think that the way we are handling this thing is a bit sad. First of all, I think that our people just throw a lot of buzzwords around without making us understand. Some of us are a bit tech inclined. I'm a software engineer. Now, when we are told that the system was hacked, what does it actually mean? First of all, let's assume that students are supposed to place themselves by selecting schools.
Yes.
Now, whichever back-end system is supposed to be doing the placement should not even have in any way an interface with the public.
Right.
So there might be a DB system that stores all the choices that the students have made, where this back-end system will be using as inputs these placement options or choices. After it has done its work based on the algorithm that is being used, then it can upload it back onto another server for students to access.
Right.
So when they say it has been hacked, what does it actually mean? Is it the case that, our people think that Ghanaians are not tech savvy, so when it comes to some of these things, they just throw some buzzwords around, make people think that, something has been hacked or something happened? If there are, one of the gentlemen mentioned that there were irregularities with some of the values that come in, that came in the system. What I think is that the problem is the people manning the system and has nothing to do with the system itself. Now, if somebody has access from within the organization, I don't know whether it's GES or WAEC or whoever is responsible, and they are doing things to the system in the back, then they'll come up and make all sorts of claims. So I believe that some of these things, we just have to do the right thing. First of all, yes, it's good to talk about issues, but we need to find solutions. There are computer science departments in most of our major universities. There's University of Ghana Computer Science Department. There's Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. They have a computer science department, UDS, everywhere. Just bring together learned people from academia, from industry. Let's sit down and find a lasting solution to this problem.
Great. Thank you very much, Michael. That was a great submission. We've got Leila on the line. That's the last caller, and unfortunately, we won't take any callers anymore. Leila, hi.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
My point is this.
Yes.
Our issue has to do with continuity. Like the professor said, experience is what will make things finer. Now, if we had a system that was working and people were working on it, why do we need to change it? Like you said, if it ain't broken, you don't have to fix it. But I also have an issue with the teacher in your studio. Now, in all this, I haven't heard anyone talk about the students themselves making decisions to where they want to be and what they want to do. Yes, teachers and parents can take decisions for the students, but remember that these are now teenagers and they have a fair idea of what they want to do. So have we thought about the fact that these students have a certain expectation as well? Children at the Independence Square were collapsing, some were so distraught. If we had involved them in taking decisions for the schools and the courses they want to do, I am sure that their expectations will be measured because they will do an internal assessment of themselves. So let us look at how we are going to include these students in the decision making. And for the teacher to say that parents are the biggest problem in education in Ghana, I don't subscribe to that. And I don't think that being a teacher, she can have that position and still be objective to her relationship with parents of her teachers. So I think she should come again and explain herself.
Okay.
Softwares are supposed to solve problems over a period of time. So we expect that you can even sit from your office and pick schools for your children. And it should work that way. That is what we should be looking at. I like this program, and kudos to your producers and all that.
Good night. Thank you very much, Leila. So, Madam Yakuba, it's over to you.
Okay. About the caller, Leila. She said she didn't hear anything. She didn't hear anything about we including the students.
Yeah, the students.
At the classroom level as teachers, we organize career day programs and all these activities that we perform to know the ability of the child, their desires, what they want to do. And before the parents are invited in, the Form 3 class teachers interact with the children, know whatever every child wants to do. Looking at their performance, if a child wants to pursue a program and looking at the performance, we think the child will do better. We first speak to the child. We share ideas with the child. we tell you, we think you can do this, so why don't you try this one and let's see. If the child says, no, I still want this, okay, so let's take it that this doesn't go well. What is your next step? We do all these things with the children before the parents are invited in, because we know that most parents want to stamp their authority, and we really want to deal with the children first, then we'll know how to tackle the parent. So we do our work at the backstage with the children before the parents are invited in. Yes.
Okay. So last submissions, and then we've got just 1 minute. So
Sure.
yes.
So I'll just talk about the algorithm.
Yeah.
I think they have to review it. I don't know how they profile the students and the raw scores, as they say. If there's a factor of name, as in using probably their surname, if it is a criteria to place certain students, then I think the algorithm is flawed, because then it means if I have 400 and then she has 350, and because her surname starts with an A and I start with a B, then she'll go before me.
Yeah.
So I think they need to review the algorithm and make sure the raw scores profile and look at the students, whether the person actually wanted a day. They need to factor all these things.
Yeah. If we are told that the system is hacked, okay, then it means obviously there's something seriously wrong with your security testing that you did. So we will plead with CSSPS that some testing should be done before the system is always released.
Right.
Okay, including the security testing, functionality, compatibility, and performance and loading.
Sure.
Since the system kept going down.
Okay. Thank you very much. And if you've been listening to us, this has been Geek Squad, the show that breaks down technology and brings it closer to home. Fortunately, we ran out of time, but we will catch you again next week. You can find the podcast on MyJoy Online, and you can watch the live stream on Facebook. My name is Kobe Spike Nkrumah. See you guys next week.